Hey everybody, I'm Virginia from the KDJ show at 97.9 WRMF, and I have for years wanted to do something like this. I love cooking, I love gumbo, but by no means am I trained or a real chef. I'm just somebody who loves doing it at home, and I've been making this gumbo now for about 20 years, and I've never written down the recipe. So this is the first time I had to actually write it down to be able to do this. And so I'm excited to share it with you guys. I hope you like it, and I hope you'll be able to make it at home for your friends and family, and they love it just as much as my friends and family do. So to get started, any good gumbo has to start with a roux. The roux is basically the base of any really good sauce or gumbo or soup. What I do with mine is I use bacon grease and safflower oil as my oil base. And then you just add to that the flour on top of it to make the whole roux. So that's what we're gonna start with. I've already got the bacon grease and the safflower oil in here all mixed up. So we're gonna pour that in. And you wanna get it pretty hot. They call it Cajun napalm because it should be really hot. You really want to be able to see a little smoke coming off the oil. You want it to be like a super hot oil. It's starting to change in color a little bit. I'm going to start adding the flour. And now what you do is you add it slowly. Everything that you do it slowly, and you do it little by little. So I'm going to add a little bit of flour and then stir in. This process right here to make the roux and get it a dark color, that's how I like my gumbo, really dark. If you ever go to New Orleans, there's so many different gumbos. So there's like blonde gumbo, there's like dark gumbo, there's like medium gumbo. I like mine dark. There's also skinny gumbo and there's thick gumbo. I like mine skinny. So that's the difference in the different gumbos. I like skinny and dark, which is coincidentally also what I would like to be. So skinny and dark always sounds good to me. The one thing you do have to watch though about your roux is you don't want to burn it. I've done this many times where I turn around to grab a screaming child or something, and then I come back to the roux and there's little bits of black in it because I burned it, and then you gotta throw it out, and that stinks, but you throw it out and you start over, and so that's that. Do not leave your roux. You wanna get it almost to the point where you feel like you've burned it, but just right before you've burned it. That's really gonna give it the best flavor. Still stirring, still stirring. This process really, when it's done right, should take about 20 to 30 minutes. You want to make sure it gets super dark. You want to make sure that it's got that smoky flavor in it. Right before it burns though. Don't burn it. This meat gumbo that I'm doing today has the andouille sausage, the Italian sausage, and the pulled chicken. I took a little extra step too this morning, and I poached the chicken in a vegetable broth. That makes it really super tender. So I think that's really a key. You don't want like tough chicken in your gumbo. You really want it to be like buttery and melting. So that's how I did it. I poached it this morning in the oven and then pulled it by hand. That's the way that I like to do it. I pull it by hand, and then it's like stringy and fun, and the texture is nice, I think. Better than chopped. You can add the vegetables to your roux as they are, just raw, or you can give them some extra love, which is what I like doing. And you can caramelize your onions, which gives them extra smoky, yummy flavor. You can roast your peppers, which gives them extra yummy, smoky flavor. But you know, all of that adds a lot of time. So I like it when you cook it slow over the course of 2 days. Look how old my spoon is though. I mean, how many roux have been blackened using this one? And this is really key, at least for me. You wanna make sure you have a flat edge because you wanna really try to hit all of your roux when you're mixing it. So you don't want anybody to stick to the bottom of the pan. So all these little flour nuggets, you wanna make sure that they're being moved around by your spoon. Okay, now we're starting to get into the realm of like a peanut butter, dark peanut butter, almost milk chocolate, which is what I like. So I am going to start adding the veggies. And I'm gonna take the heat down just a little tiny bit too. So I'll take the heat down, and I like to always start with the onions. These are caramelized. So I'll add these. Just a little tiny bit of onions. Magnolia's calling me. Yes, Mags? Oh, it's Rocco. Rocco, I'm busy. I'm doing a cooking demo.
Sorry, Mommy. Took my phone. Love you.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Okay. All right, now when I start adding my, my stock, don't get the full salt stock because then it'll be too salty. You can always add salt at the end, but you can't take salt out if you had too much. So I start with the unsalted stock, and I think that's the smarter way to go. But you'll see how it's really darkening up too. Look at that beautiful dark color that's becoming. Keep adding stock. Okay, so our roux is definitely getting beautiful. When it is done right, it should be dark and creamy. So you really want it to look like, oh, I could eat it, but it actually tastes gross right now. You do not want to eat it. It is just not yummy. But dark and creamy is the best. Okay, so that's andouille sausage, which is pretty much a staple in Louisiana. If you're making a meat gumbo and you're not using andouille sausage, then you're definitely not doing it the New Orleans way, I think. So then I also like Italian sausage as well. I prefer the sausage that has fennel in it just because I like the taste that it gives. This is some sticky sausage. Okay, there we go. That's what she said. I'm gonna keep adding stock now. It's just one of those things that takes time. You know, it's a long process, but then it's so worth it. The gumbo tastes so good, and when you put that love into it, I think it really does come out in the taste. I'm gonna add my onions now, the caramelized onions. I just caramelized them in butter, because I love butter, like too much. Butter is fun. I took these red peppers and green peppers and roasted them in the oven with olive oil. I didn't want them to get too black and dark. I just kind of let them get halfway roasted. So halfway roast them, don't let them get too crispy and charred. I just do the celery raw. No need to do anything fancy with the celery. Take your time at home, like lovingly add the ingredients. Stir a little bit, take some time, stir a little bit. You'll add oregano, you'll add bay leaves, you'll add parsley, you'll add cumin, all the stuff that makes it fun and flavorful. Okay, a little bit of Worcestershire. How do you say this? Worcestershire? Worcestershire? Worcestershire. All right, a few little dashes of that. 3 tablespoons of minced garlic. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna stir that all up. I love all the colors and the prettiness of it when it's at this stage. It's got beautiful color. See? It's fun. It's got pretty color to it. The reds, the greens. Okay, so put a little beer in there to give it a little New Orleans flavor. Abita makes some great beers. They have dark, super dark ones like this. They have light ones, and they do seasonal ones too. They do a strawberry, they do a peach. All right, this one looks about ready. You know, of course, like it would have to cook for hours now on top of this, but it would simmer at least 6 hours, I would say. At least 6 hours to get a good flavor on it. But if you guys are ready, I have the other batch that you guys can sample and taste the magic. Like on TV, how they pull it out. Oh, it's done, it's magic. So I brought these little Chinese containers, these little Chinese food to-go boxes. So I'm gonna fill a bunch of them up and you guys can take one with you, share with your friends. And thank you guys so much for coming out today. Yay. Sweet. Thank you to Bloomingdale's for hosting us. So nice. Thank you guys.